Put him down. Put him down. I'm not looking up.
3, 2,
Welcome back to the Agony of Positivity podcast. I am Ross. Joined with me.
So
Need to get like the clapping and cheering emote, and then I can do that.
Yes.
Or I can boo you. I mean, we can do it either way.
Either one would work, I think.
You can pick an alignment for the day, and then we can base it on
Yes.
that. Let's see here. So, how is your week been?
Uneventful.
Uneventful.
Just working.
Was there conclusion to the lawnmower man scenario from last week?
Oh yeah, so
Because just
So
real,
how
I'll give my what I remember as the recap of it was
Okay.
your lawnmower was busted. Apparently, getting a lawnmower fixed takes a lot longer than anyone would think. You had made arrangements with a younger guy to cut the
Yes.
yard for X amount of time
yes.
at a like $45 basically for X amount of weeks. Turns out you got the lawnmower fixed way quicker. You were going to try to talk to the guy and be like, hey, I'll pay your normal rate for cutting it this weekend because I know we had the arrangement and everything, but I'm not going to need you, so trying to be as fair as possible with you. And then we had decided that was probably the fairest way to go about it. And then
Yep.
that was where we left off.
Yeah, so Sunday came and 12 o'clock came and he didn't show up. So I was like, well, I'll give him an hour.
Right?
So it was like, an hour later and still didn't call, show up or anything.
Yeah, so no show up and like not even a call or a text.
Yeah, so I was like, well, maybe.
And you guys had, it was a time arrangement, like a certain time, not I'll just show up at some point on the weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because I asked him, I was like, because, I don't want to be waiting all day for a guy to mow my grass. I was like, I need a time range, man. He's like, oh, yeah, I understand. But he told me like 12 o'clock. I'm like, all right, that sounds good. So this was a time that he picked and everything.
Right.
So anyway, so it came to be like 1 o'clock. I was like, well, I guess he forgot or moved on or in jail or whatever.
Yes.
I don't know.
I would love to know what goes on where you're cutting someone's grass and then you end up in jail.
Well, he's a young kid, so maybe
Right.
he went out and partied late. Who knows?
Those youngsters.
So I was like, well, whatever. So I mow my grass and everything. And then it gets to be, whatever time I text you, I think it was like, what, 6 o'clock?
It
7
was-
o'clock at night?
It was fairly, like, it was definitely like evening or dinner time.
Yeah. So he texts me, he's like, all right, I'm on my way. I was like, no. I was like, buddy, we said 12 o'clock. And so he texted me back. He's like, well, I had other people scheduled for your day. And he's like, I couldn't make it the time. Couldn't make it 12 o'clock. I was like, this was the time that you picked, buddy.
Right. Well, the thing is, like, he didn't tell you either.
No.
Like, that's the thing
He-
is,
And,
yeah.
yeah, and he was like, well, I probably should have texted you, but I just got busy, and I can mow your grass now. I was like, well, I got my lawnmower fixed, man, and I really don't need you now because I already cut my grass. And I was like, this is going to be my last time using you, and I was going to pay you a little extra, but I'm like, it's good. Everything worked out okay. He said, well, I just want to cut your grass then. Like,
Great. All right, so we're in agreement. You're not cutting my grass. Excellent.
yeah, I just like how his final thing was like, well, I ain't gonna cut your grass then.
Yeah. Now, my question would be, now again, because you were like, oh, I need a time, and he gave you a time, so you're expecting it. I mean, you're familiar with jobs that can all of a sudden run longer, so you're giving him an hour to at least hear something from him.
Yes.
Now, had he texted you and be like, hey, it won't be till later in the evening, somebody added on a couch for me to mow, and it's going to take a while,
Yeah.
like, would that have been fine, or would you have been like, you don't have to worry about it?
If he would have did that, I probably would have told him like, hey, don't even worry about it because I was just going to use you one more time. I would
Right.
explain it to him.
Right, and then So, but yeah, I mean, that's once you don't hear anything, and because I understand that a lot of times they probably work on just, hey, we'll cut your grass on Sundays, and then at some point during the day they show up. But in your situation, you needed a time, and he gave you one, so he agreed to an outside situation, basically, from the norm.
Yeah. So if you're trying to start your own company up, and you tell a customer, I'll be there at 12 o'clock every Sunday. Be there around 12 o'clock every Sunday.
Right, or let them know.
Yep. So.
Yeah, well, and part of that would be like, hey, it'll be around noon. Sometimes things can happen that make things go longer, and it's hard to get to my phone. I'll text you within an hour of the show up time, one way or the other, just if that's something you can live with.
But
none of that happened.
And I guess my uncle fixed my lawnmower, and we're all good now on lawnmowers.
So no more no more paying people, no more trying to use a push mower for way too much yard.
This whole ordeal has been a big pain in the ass. I'm glad that it's over with. So
I only have a small yard, and one of the most appealing things of moving to somewhere like New Mexico to me is that you don't have a yard, or your yard could literally be done with scissors. It's so small. So
you want desert sand.
I believe it's Desert Escape is the way they call it. There's a house near where I live that they just have. It's Ohio. It's the Midwest. There's grass here. They just have gravel and big rocks in their yard.
Yep.
There's no grass.
Yep.
And it's like, you could tell that's a good neighborhood because there's not bars around the window and screen to protect them.
Yes.
Where people are just throwing their rocks. My week has been super uneventful. So mostly nothing happened. Internet got fixed, I believe.
Yeah. That's good.
I say that, but I'm not like committed to it yet because I've thought it's been fixed multiple times. So we'll see. But all right. So we're on the express schedule today. Do you want to talk about AEW and the Blood and Guts event?
Yeah, because that's the only thing I really watched.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. Hold on a sec. Here we go.
I don't know what the hell's going on here, folks. Looks like he's just wearing blue jeans. This is a revolution.
I did rewatch last night Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter with the wife.
I saw that. I saw that was on. I didn't watch it though.
We actually watched it on like HBO Max or whatever. Was it on TV as well?
Yeah, it was on TNT last night, I think.
Oh, yeah. TNT only exists about 15 minutes before Dynamite, and sometimes if I fall asleep, it exists for a while after Dynamite, and then usually I don't watch it. But yeah, so that movie is still pretty good. I think that's the second time I've seen it.
Yeah, I think I've only watched that movie once. It did what it was supposed to do. I mean,
they had a lot of good they kind of tied stuff into the vampire story pretty good, I thought. So
sure.
I wish they would do another one with somebody else. But anyway, so to Blood and Guts, we got so it was a one match show if you were there live. I guess I thought that was I knew that going in. That was probably what they were doing, just from looking online. I guess there are a handful of people there. Like they offered refunds if you were displeased with that, and a handful of people were upset and took it.
What now? Say that one
okay, so you show up to Daly's place, and they're like, "Hey, this is the only thing that's going to be live is going to be the Blood and Guts match, maybe some promos." All the other matches Wednesday night were pre-recorded before they set up the cage.
Gotcha.
So then you showed up. Now, I already knew that just from looking at a few random things online here or there.
Yeah.
I find it real strange that you would be big enough of a fan to be in Jacksonville, to go to Blood and Guts, and somehow not be aware that that's how it was going to be. That seems weird.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, I guess. Daly's place is kind of small.
Yeah.
But WCW never had that problem.
I think their cage for the War Games was a different construct. I don't think Daly's place has an area above the ring to suspend it and drop it down.
Yeah, I understand Daly's place is a little bit smaller, so
yeah. But yeah, so I guess it doesn't sound like very many people took it, but I mean, good on them for being like just super upfront, like, hey, if you have a problem with this, you can totally get a refund. And I guess they gave them like the first hour to make that decision. I just can't imagine because the War Games match was what I would have been there to see anyway. So it would have been like, that's fine. But yeah, they had a bigger crowd. So what do you think of the overall show, like for Wednesday?
I thought it was good.
We'll divide so before the War Games match and the War Games match itself. Just the regular part of the show, did that seem all right for you, or?
Yeah, I mean, that was just all right. I mean, there was nothing special about that.
Right. The one thing that I thought was funny, I don't know if it was Miro who put it or somebody commented on it, so Miro comes out and he's challenging Darby for the TNT Championship on Wednesday, but so it was like, yeah, what a good idea to sign a contract to fight Miro and immediately go get thrown down some stairs from his sneak attack that ended up with him being obliterated.
Yeah, unless that's Miro's new team, or do you think they're?
Nah, I don't. I think that they are operating independently.
They're going to make Miro like a Brock Lesnar type thing where he just destroys everybody.
I mean, if you saw how Miro treated Kip after all that,
sure.
Would you really want to align yourself with that guy?
This is true.
Like, unless you were like totally his second, like at the ring, like you were being his manager. But even then, if you mess up once or if he loses and you don't prevent it, he's turning on you. Like, it'd be the old when people would team with like Cactus Jack and then they'd lose and then he'd beat up his partner or whatever. It's like, why do people keep teaming with this guy? Like,
yes,
it'd be the same thing. It'd be like, why are they doing that?
Yep.
Yeah, there wasn't like, the beginning of the show was just a bunch of, I mean, it was stuff like the Moxley Kingston match was fine.
QT Marshall and Cody I could care less about.
Like, I don't. So I'm pretty sure Anthony Ogogo is just going to drop this faction super quick. He's going to realize that, or him and Nick Camarado are going to just break away from QT and Aaron Solo because it's clearly, this whole thing is clearly about building Anthony Ogogo up and then probably Nick secondly. And then Solo is there to eat pins currently would be my guess. I don't know what QT's doing. Like, they don't even portray him as like a mastermind.
Wearing bowling shirts.
Yep. So I don't know. I mean, the match itself that they had was pretty good. I mean, a lot of people just don't like Cody as well. So I can see that there's like an entire section of even the AEW audience who this was like the worst match that could ever be put on for them. Like, oh my God, I'm so tired of Cody and I don't care about QT. And they were just miserable the whole time.
Well, I mean, I'm more confused by Cody's character because I'm like, you should be in a higher, I don't know. Well, I mean, they kind of pigeonholed him, whatever that expression is.
Yeah.
They kind of just put him in a place where he can't challenge for the championship, like the world championship, so he can only go for the TNT title, and that's going to be kind of boring if he's always challenging for the TNT.
Right. They need... I like the commitment to it. I mean, it's been, about a year where he hasn't, like, switched up on it or whatever, so he's actually stayed completely away from it, which is not... I mean, in wrestling, sticking to a stipulation for a year is, unfortunately, that's impressive.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know if he's just trying to make QT, like, bring him up a little bit, But him beating him doesn't really do anything for him. It doesn't do anything for Cody. So I'm guessing, but then like Ogogo comes out at the end and hits him with the liver shot, and then buries him with, or covers him with the Union Jack, or not the, is that right? Yeah, Union Jack is, yeah. I got confused.
British flag.
Yes,
The British flag.
that weird flag. So I'm assuming he's going to beat Cody and he's going to get the rub off that. But yeah, I don't know.
Sure.
Like, I read someone was talking. They were like, that punch isn't very impressive. And then someone had linked a bunch of like liver shots like that from like UFC and boxing, where just everybody just is crumpled and dead. And they're like, it's pretty legit. And then the argument was because it's pro wrestling, it's not very impressive. It's like, well,
yeah, I get that. Like Chris Jericho's Judas Effect, it looks not very impressive, but I've seen people in UFC win with that. So
yeah, I mean, if you get hit with that, you're going to be obliterated.
So I understand what they're saying there.
Yeah, visually it's not impressive, but it's also one of those things you could potentially train people to accept it for what it really is. There's like the old Paul Heyman interview where he was talking about you could take Mark Henry and turn a side headlock into the most devastating move ever if you really worked on it.
Lex Luger comes to my mind as a finishing maneuvers that was kind of lame. So.
The torture rack? Or
the torture rack and his bionic elbow there for a while was also a finisher move.
Yeah, no, I remember the forearm. In
forearm.
The WrestleMania arcade game, like the Street Fighter style one, I think his arm turned into metal when you did that. But
because I guess he was in an accident or something, so they made his whole arm like became like a steel pipe, basically.
Yeah, like he basically had an adamantium forearm, like not just like the small, like they really played that up. Creative for the time. And it gave him something other than the torture rack, which. Like, bend your knee. There you go. You're out. Britt Baker beats up on Melissa Joan Hart's sister. That's not that's not true, but interesting technique by Taz. I forgot about this, where he just basically like tries to bury Christian. But as a legit, I don't know. I just laughed. Oh my god! 4-way tag eliminator match. These matches are dreadful.
Yeah, I could care less about. And I knew Daniels and Frankie was going to win.
Right? Yeah, there was very little mystery.
Well, because they had the stipulation like if we lose, we're no longer a tag team. I was like, okay, well,
I'd like
hopefully you're not going to lose. A 4-man tag.
Well, I'd like to think that they would have add the stipulation, be like, look, this obviously doesn't count because we don't even have to be involved with the pinfall or the submission, but. Right. I mean, yeah, obviously, like, this would be one of those things where if they lost and then they had to break up in this after making a big deal about challenging the Bucks, it would be like a swerve for the sake of a swerve that really is kind of pointless. It's like, so you want to waste all this built-up equity you have to be like, oh, anything could happen. Like, there's not a better way you could get that across. So, yeah.
The only thing that I got out of this match is I wish Brian Pillman Jr. was more like his dad.
Like, as far as style, or
his Brian Pillman Jr. Brian Pillman's character was awesome.
Yeah.
Brian Pillman Jr.'s character is just kind of me.
I mean, he hasn't really had time to even develop anything other than he's in a tag team. So
and I wonder if he really can't do a lot with AEW because of his MLW contract.
Because he's not. Yeah, I don't think he's technically signed completely to AEW, right?
Yeah, because he fell through that loophole that his contract says because AEW wasn't around, so he could wrestle for AEW.
I'm looking here. I'm just trying to find out if he actually is, because
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think he his contract falls into the loophole because AEW wasn't around when he signed his MLW
Yeah,
contract.
so he can work. I can't find an exact. I don't remember seeing that he is all elite or anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I do like this old interview with him. He was like, "I'm pretty sure I'm still under contract with him." Like, what?
Sure.
That's fantastic. I've watched his Warcraft stream a couple times.
So I assume when his MLW contract runs up, he'll probably join AEW.
Right. I mean, he has a good look. His knee pads are the correct style to be a somebody.
I wish he'd go to. I wish he'd wear his outfit like his dad did. I'm not a fan of tights.
Are you sure you don't secretly just want Brian Pillman back?
Well, that can't happen realistically. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I mean, he has he's good in the ring. I've heard him talk like he's fine, but yeah, like there definitely needs to be a flushing out of the character.
I don't know. He needs to do something with the character.
Yeah, I mean, he's not in a bad situation currently, but it could definitely be better.
I did read an interview where he said that he had an idea for him and Garrison. He was gonna have Stone Cold come in and be like their coach.
Yeah, like he said he was like, I've texted Austin, but I just haven't heard back yet.
And I'm thinking Austin's not going to do that. He's not going to, because that would probably piss off WWE. So he's
right. I mean, yeah, I don't think there's ever a chance that that's going to happen, but it'd be pretty crazy. Just a world where Austin shows up somewhere other than WWE for anything. Although who knows? Maybe it'll be like, yeah, I don't even care anymore. I have so much money. I can make Vince mad. Let's see here. We got. So it is funny to me that this thing made people angry. Well, I don't think real people were angry. I think trolls were angry. Kenny Omega, the belt collector, comes out with Shivani. Yeah. So Michael Nakazawa is holding all the belts he has except for the AEW title.
Yeah.
Did that outrage you?
Why would he? Well,
there are people. So there are people who are upset that the Impact title, like Kenny wasn't carrying it, he had Nakazawa carrying it.
Well, so they want Kenny to wear all the belts?
I don't know. Well, that's the thing is like Kenny made kind of a big deal out of the belts by being like, Michael, get in the screen, show him all this stuff. Like,
yeah,
it's not like he was like, I don't even care about these. So Nakazawa, like, he brought attention to that.
I assume if he keeps this gimmick up, he'll wear whatever belt
he's defending,
whatever federation he's in.
Yeah, you would think that.
Yes.
But yeah, so during that did it even occur to you for a second? Oh, look at how disrespectful they're being to the Mega Championship and the TNA stuff.
No,
yeah, me neither.
No, the thing that bothered me is like, why does TNA have two belts? That's so stupid.
Yeah, hopefully they're going to just unify those two into one.
Because didn't WWE do that too? And I thought that was dumb.
Yeah, briefly. Yeah, because I don't know. And the thing is, like, WWE has done it a couple times, and they have the old Undisputed title, which is one of the better belts ever.
Yeah.
And they've never reused that design. Like, what are you doing? I know they want like the belt to be the brand logo or whatever, but
well, yeah, the belts now are garbage. I'm sorry.
For WWE or in general?
For WWE, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of theirs. Like
the
U.S. title's okay, and the IC title's whatever. Like, it doesn't have the history, so I'm not as big a fan of the current IC belt. But those look like wrestling belts. The Universal and the Championship just don't do it for me. I'm just not a fan of that design.
Nope. The tag belts also look ridiculous.
I think people refer to those as like the penny belts because it looks almost like a penny on there. I will definitely say AEW and New Japan are crushing WWE in current belt designs.
Yeah.
Now, if WWE were like, check this out, and brought back like the old Eagle belt from like the 80s, and then the and brought out again for like the 14th time the old IC title, I'd be like, oh, all of a sudden, that's way better. Well, anyway, so yeah, I thought it was interesting that I was reading people upset about that. It's like, I think more people, 1 million people more than normal saw the Impact title there. So I feel like they're getting the better of the deal still. We're going to get a Orange Cassidy and Pac match to see who faces Omega at the pay-per-view. What do you think about the prospect of Kenny Omega against Orange Cassidy?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it could work. I mean, I hope Orange Cassidy doesn't win the belt.
Well, obviously. Yeah, I don't think he would win it, but I mean, we got like the semi more serious, like Orange Cassidy, where like it's definitely when he does like the super lazy stuff, it's definitely the mind games now as opposed to him being just lazy.
I think to make Kenny look more heelish, I think Kenny should really hurt Orange Cassidy and like basically wear his glasses around
like a trophy,
and like a trophy, and like make Orange Cassidy off TV for a little bit.
I could see that.
That's how I would do it.
Now, what do you think? So, do you think it's more likely that it's Orange Cassidy, Pac, or is it going to be a triple threat match?
Be the first time AEW did that, but yeah.
Right. Well, because I don't know what else is going to be on the card, but they typically put the world title match as your main event. Is Kenny Omega Orange Cassidy or Kenny Omega Pac like a big main event draw? I don't know.
I think a triple threat match probably would do it, yeah.
Right. Because now,
more exciting.
I kind of wonder if they sent Orange Cassidy out to face Omega, because that's the biggest crowd they've had in a while, to gauge, like, is the crowd who's showing up to AEW at least, are they excited at the possibility of this? And they gave him a pretty strong reaction. So, but I don't know. I'm just thinking from like is that a draw, or do they have something else big planned for the show?
Yeah,
that would be the actual. Yeah, I don't. No clue either. I mean, you could end up with like the Bucks against Moxley and Kingston as your main event, because Moxley's pretty big. But anyway, and then we get after all that. But yeah, Omega is just a complete jerk to Orange. The Miro thing that we were talking about, I assume Miro's walking away with that belt.
Yeah, I assume too. That's why I think that's why they pre-injured Darby.
Yeah,
or maybe for real injured him.
Who knows? Because I was like, well, how's he going to do that without dying? And I was like, oh, he's just going to basically die. Okay, figures.
Well, it's funny because I text you. I legitimately thought he was going to throw. The way he threw Scorpio Sky, I thought he threw him over the edge.
I was waiting for it. I do think it's funny that Sky was like, can you imagine sneaking attacking somebody and ending up like this?
Yes.
So, all right. Blood and Guts, War Games, whatever you want to call it. The cage looked impressive.
Yeah.
Like, I like the look of the cage. Camera work was pretty good throughout. Sammy and Dax started, and within minutes, Dax was bleeding all over the place.
Razor blades were used a lot in this match.
I could see a couple people grabbing them. I guess there was way more blood than was expected because people kept getting hard-weighed, is one of the reports I read. Which, I mean, that much... I mean, they were laying it in constantly, like, because there was way more like punching, kicking, striking than there were wrestling moves applied.
They must have watched a lot of old War Games where Dusty and Ric Flair would just blade the heck out of each other.
Yeah, well, you could see Jericho working on getting his out while he was in the armbar on the top.
Yeah,
which is like, I mean, doesn't matter to me. Like it's wrestling. I know what's going on. Were you pretty entertained by this?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was good. I thought the ending was kind of lame.
I would say live, the ending was probably a lot better. But, yeah I mean, we know they're not going to, like, throw Jericho through the stage.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what cracks me up. Like, I've heard, like, people like Cornette and other trolls were like, I look so cheesy. I was like, well, they're not literally going to kill Chris Jericho
Right.
for...
And, I mean, there's a way they could do it better. But...
Well, you just do it like how ECW used to do it all the time with tables. But the problem with the tables is sometimes you don't are accurate and you hurt the person. So...
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the whole... And it's like, yeah, I know, like, the one camera shot definitely wasn't the best that they had.
Yep.
But, I mean, it got the point across. So, I don't know. I think some people are just bagging on it, too, because of the exploding ring ending. Did not go as planned. So, they're like, oh, they were doing such a good match, and then they kill it with the ending. It's like...
Whoever's doing their camera angles, yeah, I agree with that, because there's a lot of times I saw Chris Jericho telling MJF what to do.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you guys need to learn how to control your camera angles, because you're
Giving a little too much.
You're ruining my immersion of this whole match. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I mean, it didn't. I understand. Be like, oh, that ending wasn't as good as it could have been.
No.
But from a story standpoint, that was how it had to. It was either Sammy or Jericho. One or the other was going to be thrown off, and the other was going to stop it, and then it was going to still happen.
Yeah.
So I assume this is Jericho taking a bit of a break, and then I don't know. I assume everybody will go their separate ways.
Yeah, I think they should. Yeah. I mean, but I thought overall it was a pretty good match. I mean, it ended like how it should have ended.
Yeah, I mean, you had to... Like, there was a point there where they had just wiped out the Pinnacle. And I was like, uh-oh, are they actually going to have Inner Circle win this dominantly?
Yes.
Because I was like, I don't know how they cut... Like, I mean, they killed them off almost. I was like, I don't know how you come back. But then I forgot that Wardlow has the power of the Ultimate Warrior in his blood. So... which I'm okay with, because, I mean, he does pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that there was way more strikes and weapons and stuff like that, and most of the wrestling moves were just like throws. Like, there wasn't a ton of like, oh, I'm going to put you in a hammerlock.
I saw the one NXT War Games.
Yeah.
And people were saying how that one was better. I don't know. Because that War Game just seemed neat.
Was that the one with the three-way one or whatever it was?
Yeah.
Where it had Undisputed Era, Pat McAfee, and stuff in it?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it was all right, but I don't know. I don't think it was better than this one.
I mean, this one I feel like was a more old school style. Because, like, the craziest, like, crazy stuff, like Sammy and Sean Spears doing the Spanish Fly from the two ropes.
Yeah.
The Van Terminator. And then the end were really the only big, like, oh my God, crazy flippy fly stuff. So,
sure.
Which is, like, I'm fine with. Like, the Spanish Fly was the one that was the most out of place, kind of. Where it was like, we're going to do this just because this is going to be cool. The Van Terminator is fine because that's like a big old kick to the face. So that makes sense.
I thought it was better than the NWO versus the Horsemen. So, I mean.
Yeah. Well, was that the one where Hennig turned?
Well, yeah, okay. I didn't even think about that one. I was talking about when the NWO first fought.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I mean, well, it's funny because, like, everyone in this match is basically more athletic.
Sure.
But they really didn't do that much. It was all pretty much all story and blood, which is fine. That's what it should have been.
Well, and that's what's funny when you're comparing NXT and AEW to old wrestling. It's like, well, the wrestlers nowadays are a lot more better athletes than what they were back in the day. People back in the day were better storytellers. So I don't know.
Right. Well, I mean, I feel like we're getting more and more story-driven stuff with AEW.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still getting some incredible like matches just from a match standpoint, but
Yeah.
I'm more the finish to the matches, and if the story was progressed, is way more interesting to me in a lot of cases than the match itself. And I mean, WWE has that too at times, but because I don't trust their storytelling even a little bit, so I need a good match to go with the story, because it may just be obliterated the next week when they just go like, we're going to pretend that never happened.
Well, see, and that's the thing why I don't get into WWE anymore, because, like you said, it's almost like if Vince doesn't get the reaction he wants, he just kills the story, and you're like,
right, and it's never mentioned again. Like, that's the other thing. Like, there's still stuff that, like, I know you're not the biggest fan of the Best Friends, but Best Friends come out to go against, like, or talk to Death Triangle, but they're like, hey, we haven't forgotten about all this stuff that was, months and months and months ago. So just that little acknowledgement of them acknowledging the history, not just the announce team, but being there. And I mean, WWE does do that from time to time, but I mean, if you watch Being the Elite, you're also going to get references to stuff that happened before AEW existed between people too sometimes.
Sure.
So I kind of think that helps. But yeah, so MJF, he gets Sammy to surrender, and then he still throws Jericho off, and he gives him his thank you that he said. The final shot, like, because it was all about making MJF here, I would say. Do you feel that bumped MJF up to the next level, or do you think he was already there?
I think it helped, because he took out Jericho. Now he needs to. See, I don't know where they go from here. I guess take on Cody.
I mean, I could see, because Cody was going, before, like, all kinds of stuff happened, Cody was going to challenge MJF, it sounded like.
Yeah.
I mean, this is forever ago, and then he's been sidetracked ever since. So now that he got QT out of the way, it seems like he could end up having to fight MJF, and then I assume MJF is winning there again, and then you can have the story that Cody just can't beat MJF.
Or you make it eventually when Kenny Omega loses it to a good guy.
Yeah.
Have MJF beat that guy, and then have Cody. MJF's the reason why Cody breaks the.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the only way, storytelling wise, you could say. I understand why he broke his promise, because MJF's a jerk,
Right. Well, yeah, because I mean, I think everyone's on board with Hangman being the one to finally take it from Kenny.
Yeah.
MJF then takes it from Hangman. And you could even have that be one of those ones where Hangman's reign is only like one title defense, and then MJF just totally screws him over to get the belt from him. Yeah. Because again, like, I don't know. Like, as I've gotten old, I'm convinced like face champions just aren't as good as the chase for the good guy to get the belt is way better.
Yes.
Most times. Not that there's not something to be said for, like, if you can get like a Goldberg kind of guy that people are behind, it's just like, oh, he's just wrecking everybody. This is awesome to watch. But I only want that every couple years.
Yeah, Goldberg and Hogan doing that to everyone. Oh, yeah, that's cool, I guess. But like you said, the NW, like Hollywood Hogan and Roman Reigns and some of that, they're more interesting.
Well, yeah, like currently, like with WWE, like Reigns, you want to see something like, I know it's not real, but I still want to see who is going to be the guy to beat him.
That's the problem with WWE. They have no guys.
Right. Well, nothing that's on that level. But yeah, so yeah, then MJF gets it, and then I'm sure other people have, obviously, but I never thought about that. But yeah, you get MJF as the champion after he hoses Hangman, and then some kind of reign of terror from MJF, I would say, for quite a while. And then after MJF's beaten everybody by dastardly means, Cody finally breaks it. Or MJF basically...
MJF smacks Pharaoh.
Yeah. Well, I would assume it would be MJF won't fight Cody, or like somehow Cody finally gets MJF to challenge him.
So
Somehow to get around it, because it's only Cody's word that he won't challenge for. I don't think that was an official contract.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that. That's probably the way to do it. And then Cody can be the one to take down MJF, because that could be good.
Now that being said, that's probably 2 or 3 years away.
Yes.
So.
Well, yeah, I assume Kenny's story has to go past Double or Nothing. Maybe the next pay-per-view after that. Then Hangman has it for a while, or a month or two.
I can see Kenny losing it at all out.
Yeah. Is that the next one in order? Or is
after
Revolution?
Double or Nothing?
Yeah.
I think it's all out.
Schedule. I'm just taking a look here to see. Revolution. So yeah, Double or Not. So Revolution already is the next one. That's in July. So yeah, so Kenny could hold it till July. Assume people are back there. Maybe that's where he gets it. I don't know, but it'll be interesting.
Anyway,
yeah, they got it set up. Good job by everybody in that match, though. They all got beat, even poor Tully. Like the post-match interview, did you notice that where I think Dax had his hand on his shoulder, and then when he pulled it away, there was a big blood spot on his bright white jacket?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's not coming out.
Yeah.
So, all right, for the Express version, we're going to be done. Are you calling Miro to walk away with the TNT title next week?
Yes.
Will you be happy for him?
Sure.
Will you feel that has that Miro is being used correctly if he ends up with the TNT title?
Yeah, I mean,
after the initial worrisome showing,
I assume that Scorpio Sky and whatever the guy's name is, Ethan Page, I guess.
Yeah, are going to be involved.
I assume they'll get involved again to make it where, Darby doesn't seem as weak, I guess.
Right. Or do you think they might actually go for the forfeit route? Because they keep talking about that. Like, this is like the third time they've mentioned if he's able to compete.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, all right.
I don't know.
Well, we'll find out Wednesday. So,
yep.
I will say we call it here. Have a good week, everybody. We'll be back.
Have a good week.
Outro, go.
Outro.
Thank you.